This video is a little different than what we normally do. This is a response to Baratunde Thurston, who I was on MSNBC with talking about the New York Post cartoon and whether it was racist or not. If you don't know more about that, just check out the blogs we have on the left-hand side here on YouTube, and you'll fill yourself in. All right, now Baratunde responded to the discussion we had on MSNBC by saying, hey, look, I got to pick my priorities here. I'm worried about institutional racism and not worried about hurting the feelings of potential racists and white folks who might be offended if we call something racist. I understand that. But I think you're wrong, and I'll tell you why. Because that's your target audience. You don't need to convince blacks and other minorities that there's institutional racism. Of course! We know that! And a lot of minorities have lived that, have experienced that. So they're not the people you're trying to reach. You're trying to reach white folks. So they stop the institutional racism. So the first thing you have to do in that objective, is for them to go, oh, I get it. I see what you're saying. Yes, there's been a history of political cartoons or other kind of imagery against African Americans where they're compared to apes, monkeys, etc., etc. And I see what you're saying, how that led to harmful effects and police brutality and what's happened in the educational system and the prison system, etc. You want them to go, oh, I get it. Now, if you say, hey, that cartoon is racist, and if you don't see that cartoon is racist, you're also racist, you know what it does? It shuts it down. They go running into their foxholes and they say, okay, no, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't understand these black people, right? Well, we want them to understand what we're talking about. So I know that this is a little goofy, but call it questionable. Hey, that cartoon is questionable. Now, why am I choosing that word, which seems a little funny? It's because I want you to ask a question about it. I want you to ask people, can you see how this would be offensive to us? So instead of them putting up a defense shield, they go, okay, let me answer the question. The question is, can I see? I guess I can see that. Oh, right. From your perspective, I see it. Look, because we're not going to solve the issue of racism in this country if we don't get people to have this dialogue that Eric Holder's talking about and you and I are talking about it. And the way you have a dialogue is by engaging people and not by putting them off, right? Now, that you say the burden has been on minorities for too long to do this education. And I hear you. I agree with you. But that's the way it works, because it's not like a guy sitting in his home, a white guy is always going to say, you know what, I'd really like to educate myself about institutional racism. No, you got to let him know, otherwise he's not going to know. And remember their perspective. 90% of whites, this is my 90-10 rule, think, hey, you know what, I haven't done any racism, so I don't understand what these black guys are complaining about. But the 10% who do racism, and I'm being kind here, okay, and I know institutional racism is a hell of a lot bigger percentage than that, affect an overwhelming number of African Americans and minorities, 90%, right? And so 90% of African Americans can't understand their perspective. What are you talking about? Racism is everywhere. We're always running into racism. So the way to get beyond this and to get to a mutual understanding is not, throwing up a wall against people or throwing up words that shut people down, but encouraging by asking questions. So unless something is racist beyond a reasonable doubt, and there are plenty of things like that, unless you're 98% certain and you can convince other people that they should be 98% certain that something is racist, don't call it that. Not because I'm convinced that cartoon was not racist, but because I think we do more harm by calling it racist than good. Okay, let's keep that conversation going. All right, now I'm going to throw it back to you, Baratunde. Let's see what you got.